Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a revisiting of a video that I did about a year ago. This was started by Julia Adams, and I'm so grateful that I stumbled across this video because of hers a year ago, because now I am absolutely obsessed with her. I watch every single video that she uploads. Highly recommend checking her channel out. I will leave it linked down below. They're so aesthetic and satisfying, and she's so calming to watch. I am obsessed with her. Is my mirror in the way? No. Okay. But yeah, I just thought I would do... Anyway, the video is my top 3 products in every category. And I just wanted to revisit this to see what my products would look like after, you know, a year later. And I think a lot are the same and some are different. So let's just get right into this because I feel like it's going to be a long one, and I'm going to try to be succinct and descriptive at the same time. Okay, so good start. So I'm just going to start in the process, or like the order of makeup application, starting with primers. I know that this was in my last year's video. Oh my god, my hands just keep not working. Okay. The Makeup Forever Shine Control Step 1 Primer Mattifying Base. This is a long time love of mine. It is my favorite mattifying primer. This is an old small size that I used up. I dug it out from my old empties bag. And I've never come across a primer that mattifies my skin and actually controls my oils and helps prolong the wear of my makeup in a similar way that this does. It is my holy grail, and I probably will buy it or repurchase it when the current mattifying primer that I'm using runs out. And another longtime love of mine that was probably in my video last year as well is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion. I always use the shade 901 Fair Glow. I love this. This is again an empty. I don't have this in my collection currently, but I love this. I already said that, but it's just a glowy base. I use this all over my face and the high points of my face. I mix it in with my foundation. I put it under my foundation. I adore this. It's glowy, but it's not like a highlighter. It's a subtle glow. You can wear it by itself. It doesn't look shimmery or glittery, and it's not emollient or sticky, so it's not going to affect the wear of your makeup. It just is going to provide like a glowy base, and I love this. It's so good, and it's relatively affordable, especially in comparison to a lot of other products like this that are out. And then this is brand new to me, but has made it into this video because I love it so much. The Wet n Wild Glass Correct Primer. Now this is the yellow one for brightening. I would love to try the green one as well, but I adore this. I was worried that this was going to make my makeup wear worse, or like wear for a shorter amount of time, make it greasy, because it is glowy. Like, it definitely gives you a glass skin look, but I find that it just makes every base product that you put on top of it look really glowy, makes your skin look really, really healthy, but it doesn't make my skin feel greasy or oily or anything like that. It just is such a beautiful base for your base makeup. So I would highly recommend trying this out if you haven't tried it already. I think that this would probably work for a wide range of skin tones, even though it has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. It definitely makes my face look a little bit yellow, but I think it's not super opaque. And if you put base makeup on top of this, I think it should work for pretty much everyone. And I will just shout out my favorite eye primer, the NARS Smudge Proof Eyeshadow Base. I don't have 3, I just have 1 because this is my one and only beautiful, magical eyeshadow primer. It doesn't have a base color to it. It's translucent, even though I think they do have tinted options. I just find this makes my eyeshadow last literally forever. I've never had a problem with creasing. I've never had a problem with fading or anything from any eyeshadow formula. And I have super oily hooded lids. And I used to have such bad creasing until I started using this, and I've never looked back. In terms of foundation, this again is one that I discovered this year, but I've pretty much almost used up the entire bottle of this. It's Risen to the Top, the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I have the shade Porcelain. Adore this. It's what I'm wearing today. I feel like this is so elegant. It's like a skin, like natural finish. It's not matte, but it wears so beautifully. I've said this before. It lasts through mask wearing. It lasts through long days. Maybe it lets a little bit of oil shine through, but it doesn't break up. It doesn't look gunky. And I know that no matter what products I pair with this underneath, over top of my foundation, it's always going to look good at the end of the day. It is a little bit thicker, so if you don't like thicker foundations that have like a medium to buildable full coverage, this is not a skin tint. You might not like that, but if you are looking for a more traditional foundation that isn't going to be like super matte and super heavy, but will last throughout the day, this is a beautiful option. I also have another repeat from last year. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I have the shade Pearl. This is just a beautiful middle-of-the-road foundation. It has like a natural skin-like finish. It's not matte. It's not dewy. It's not the most long-wearing foundation, but I never have issues with this. It doesn't break up. It doesn't get too greasy. It lasts a good amount of time. It has medium coverage. Like, I really, really enjoy this. And it's something that I see myself using, or like kind of always having in my collection. And then this third one is one that I don't talk about a lot because the shade range isn't the best, so I try not to use it that much on my channel. But the Revlon Colorstay foundation, this is the combination to oily version. I have the shade 110 Ivory. This has been one of my favorites since I was a teenager. I just find that it blends beautifully. Again, it's not super matte, but it wears so well. It lasts throughout the day. Can you see what I, kind of look for in my foundations? And I adore it. I haven't checked the shade range in a while. I'm not sure what it's like, but from what I remember, it's not the best. So I really try to make an active decision not to feature this on my channel that often. For concealer, one I don't have with me, I'll just put it up on the screen. The Too Faced Born This Way, like multi-use sculpting concealer, that's what it's called, is the best concealer, full stop period, I have ever tried. Blends like a dream, amazing coverage, beautiful wear time, has a lot of product in it, so it lasts a long time. I need that. I need it back in my life. Maybe I'll order it, honestly. But it's so good. And the other two favorite concealers that I have, this is an Old Faithful for me. I always have this in my collection, the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I use this for spot concealing. I use this for cutting my crease. If it wasn't so expensive, I would use it all over my face. It's such a beautiful texture. It's matte, but it's not like super dry and cakey matte. I feel like I don't need to talk about this product so much or that much because it's been so hyped up, but it's just so beautiful. And I literally am never without it because I use it without fail every day. And then this is a new discovery this year for me. This is the Covergirl Trublend Undercover Concealer. I use the shade Fair Porcelain. This is another one that I've already used up. I dug it out from my empties bin. But this was such a surprise. I bought it because it was an affordable concealer, but it has such a beautiful, like a creamy finish on the skin almost. It's like blurring in a way. It has good coverage. It lasts really well, like it wears beautifully. It doesn't get too oily or too gunky, and I think this is such a beautiful, affordable concealer option that feels like high-end. If you gave me this concealer and didn't tell me it was a drugstore concealer, I would easily say it was like $30 to $40, so A++. For powder, this is a little bit difficult for me because obviously it takes a long time to finish powders, and I don't tend to have like multiples of powders that often. So honestly, my 3 powders that I have are just kind of powders that I've been using for a super long time. But the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder, I use the shade 05 Fair, always a favorite. I can't even tell you how many tubs of this I've gone through. It's blurring, it isn't too heavy, it doesn't look cakey, it makes my makeup last all day. It has a good shade range. I would recommend this to anyone who's looking for a loose powder. It's so good, and it comes in like a large container. Every time I want to stray away from this, I just can never find a reason to try anything else because I don't know what else I could ever want from another powder. For pressed powder, a longtime favorite is the Rimmel Stay Matte, but I know that there are probably better powders out there. I'm just trying to finish this one before I buy a new one, but I do still really enjoy this powder. I think it doesn't look cakey, but it makes my makeup last like a good amount of time. But again, I just want to use products that have better shade ranges. I had this stashed in my collection from a long time ago, so I'm just trying to use it up and then trying something new, but I still do really like that. And then the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light. I mean, I use this every day. I do think it's a really beautiful product, but I really don't want to buy or promote Hourglass. It's just like it is something that I literally use every day, and it is one of my favorite products, but I would love to know if anyone knows of any like dupes or powders that give a similar effect to the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders, because once I'm finished this, although it feels like I will never be finished this, honestly, but when I am finished this, I would love to have something that's not this, but that's like this. So let me know. All right, let's do brows before I get into like more base complexion products. So again, for brows, I don't really have 3. I have 2 that are like my tried and true, and I really don't even feel like I need to try anything else. The NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. I have the shade Auburn. I have used Ash Brown in the past. I find Auburn suits my hair a little bit more. Ash Brown is maybe a little bit too cool, but regardless of the color, the formula of this is divine. Again, so many people rave about this, so I feel like I probably don't need to talk too much about it, but again, it feels like a high-end product. It is so easy to use and manipulate. It's pigmented, but not too pigmented. The brush is like flimsy in a good way, so it's not super stiff, and it's not going to give you like really, really harsh lines. Just makes brushing like hairs into your brows so easy. It lasts a long time, but if you want to wipe something away, if you've made a rogue stroke, it's really easy to do that as well. Highly recommend these pens. And a new discovery this year for brow gel for me is the Maybelline Brow Fast Sculpt Gel Mascara. I use the shade Soft Brown, although it is a little bit deep for me. I'm not gonna lie, when I use it by itself, it's a little too dark, but I adore this product and no one talks about it. It has such a beautiful hold. It literally holds your hairs up all day long. I had no expectations about this brow gel, but it's so, so good. It's literally so good. It makes your brows look fuller, but it doesn't make them like gunky or sticky or look too thick or fake. And it has the hold of soap brows. I'm not making that up. It sounds fake, but it literally makes your brow hairs stay in place all day long. It's crazy. And I have actually repurchased that. So now for contour like products, I do include this as a separate category because I always like to contour no matter what the situation is. I know it's fucking out of style or whatever, but I have a little pudgy square head and sometimes I want to make it look a little bit more chiseled. So I do contour. Again, one of the products that I don't have with me or that I've used up is the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder. I used the shade Medium. It lasted me so long, literally years and years and years. And it is a beautiful contour powder. But again, I used it up. I wanted to try something new and I don't love the shade range on it. Anyway. So a new favorite again this year is the KVD Mod Con Liquid Gel Contour in the shade Fair Cool. It's not like, it can be a little bit finicky to use, but throughout my entire experience using this, I have really enjoyed it. I liked blending it out with a brush better than a sponge, but I never found that it lifted up my makeup underneath. It wasn't super cool. So if you don't like a super gray toned contour, maybe you check this out. It was really light. It lasted a long time, both in terms of like wear time on my face and also as a product in the bottle. It comes in a little like doe foot application. So I really liked it. Maybe something will usurp this in the future, but this is a really nice contour product that I've used. And this again is new to me, but I've quickly fallen in love with it. This is actually the Fenty Match Sticks Matte Skin Stick in the shade Amber. This is an old product that I remember not a lot of people liked, but I honestly recently purchased this and have been using it and have really enjoyed it. I think it's the absolute perfect shade for me. It's cool toned, which is exactly what I need. Like I need, especially because I am so fair, I need something that's gonna be pretty cool toned. And I just go in right with a brush into the stick, dab it on my face. I find actually it's quite easy to blend out. It's not too sticky, it's not too dewy. So for a contour product, I find that it works really well. And I really enjoy this a lot. For actual bronzers, I have one cream bronzer here. Again, I fell in love with this in the past year. This is the Danessa Myricks Power Bronzer in the shade Light. This I've used up completely. I absolutely adored my experience with this bronzer. This is like the best cream bronzer I've ever tried. I mean, I'm not that experienced, but I can imagine what more you would want from a cream bronzer formula. It makes your skin look really, not necessarily like super shiny, but just healthy and supple, even though I do set it with powder, but I know a lot of people don't. It blends really well. It's not too pigmented, but you can definitely like see it on the skin. It's not like super sheer. Really, I mean, 10 out of 10. Absolutely love this product. And then two powder bronzers that I have here, so I talk about this a lot as well. Fenty Beauty Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Into Sun. It's just like a no fuss bronzer. Beautiful shade for me. I don't have to think about it when I use it. It blends, it builds, it looks beautiful on the skin. And then this is the L'Oreal Paris. When do I ever say L'Oreal Paris? L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It bronzer. I have the shade Light. Now again, I have been on a panning journey with my bronzers. So I've been trying to pan most of the bronzers that I have. So I haven't used this in a while, but I've almost hit pan on this bronzer and I just love the tone of this. I love the finish. It's glowy, but not too glowy. And I would recommend this out of like sing it from the rooftops if it had a better shade range. And the reason that I'm trying to pan most of the bronzers that I have is because most of the bronzers that I have shitty shade ranges. So I'm trying to get better about getting that out of my collection and then bringing new bronzers in that have more than 3 light shades. So this is my favorite bronzer, but eventually this will be panned and out of my collection. For highlight, I'm gonna say, I can't remember what I put in this video last year, but I know that I put this one in for sure. This is the Natasha Denona Super Glow Highlighter in the shade Fair. It's just beautiful. I mean, again, I rave about this every chance I get. It's a beautiful, beautiful, glossy, gleaming highlight, and I can't get enough of it. Whenever I don't know what to reach for, I always reach for this. It's pricey, but worth it in my opinion. And then this year I've been using the Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm in the shade How Many Carats, so just the OG shade, nonstop. It's so pretty. It's so, so special. It makes you look so glassy and glowy, and I absolutely adore it. This is I didn't even have to think about this. I knew it was going to be in my top 3 highlighters. The third spot I really had to think about, but I honestly think it has to go to the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek, or like Super Shock Highlighter formula. Flexitarian is an OG. I've loved this for a long time. This is super, super bright, but I don't know, especially these 3 Disney villain ones that I have, there's something about them that just makes your skin look so glassy that I just adore. I don't know, I've been loving the shit out of these. This is the Cruella one. The Maleficent one is more like champagne-y. I wish that they had kept these as permanent items in their collection because I think they're so, so good. And then this Hades one is a bit dark for me, but I still use it. And I don't know, I have another highlighting palette from them. I just really, really enjoy this highlighting formula, and I've been using it so much, especially like from June to June, you know? And now the hardest category, one of the hardest categories, but honestly might be the hardest category in this entire video, is blush. I honestly didn't know how I was going to narrow it down to 3, and I didn't, but I have 4, so please forgive me. This, again, I know it's going to be no surprise to anyone. The Likely Makeup blush formula. This is the Clown Blush palette. This was the first one that they released and that I had. Beautiful. And the Fairy Blush palette, which I bought this year. I just adore this formula so much. It's perfection in my eyes. It blends flawlessly, especially for being such bright shades. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. I would recommend the Clown Blush palette more than the Fairy Blush palette because it has, I feel like, more wearable colors, and this one leans a little bit light. So Clown Blush for the win. I do really love the Fairy Blush, but I think universally the Clown Blush is going to work better for more people. And then the next blush formula that probably will be no surprise, the Pat McGrath Divine Blush, but I have the shade Desert Orchid. This is one of my absolute favorite, obviously, one of my absolute favorite blushes, but it works with like every look. It's a beautiful blush formula that has a slight pearlescence to it, but it's not overly glowy. And I also randomly love the fact that I've used this nonstop and you can still see the imprint on this pan. Is it expensive? Yes. But is it absolutely beautiful? Yes, it is. And it's just like sun-kissed, rosy brown, slightly like sunburnt. And I love it. For my birthday, I might buy another one of these blushes or one of the new blushes that she's releasing. I don't know, but anyway. And then I had to include this as my third blush. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks Glow Creamy Powder Blush in the shade Daydream. I want to buy like all the shades of this. I love it. I bought this in November, I believe, of 2021, and I already hit pan on this blush. That's how much I fucking love this little compact. My chin looks really weird. I don't know what's going on, but let's just ignore that. It's glowy. It's really quite glowy, but I kind of love that about it. but I never find that I look too oily when I wear this. Like it's really glowy, but it just makes you look beautiful and cushy and glossy and delicious. And I love the color of this, how bright, like coral it is. And I would highly recommend checking this blush formula out if you haven't already. And I know that they do a matte version of all these shades as well, but I haven't tried that. And then again, I gotta give a mention to the Merit Cheek color in the shade Cheeky. This is it's a cool toned pink, but it's almost like has a bearing quality when I put it on my cheeks. And I have made a good dent in this little dome. I went into this with like no expectations really, and I absolutely adore it. I cannot stop using this color. I feel like it works in so many looks. I never would have guessed. And I love the formula as well. I think it's really like glowy and healthy, but it doesn't feel greasy. It layers well. It doesn't pick up foundation underneath. It wears well, even though I do layer blush on top of it, but I feel like I would have no problem wearing this by itself because it does still show through powder when I put it on top. And these little domes are expensive. I think it's like $36 a blush, which I know sounds crazy, but if you want just one really easy blush formula that's not fussy, or cream blush formula that's not fussy, that's going to just work every time, that you could just swipe on your cheeks, pat it out and go, I do think that this is a really, really good option. Okay, and now let's do setting spray. One that I don't have that I'll just mention again right out the gate is the Maybelline, I can't remember the name of it right now. It's in the pink bottle. I just really like it for prolonging wear of makeup. It's not super mattifying and it's not like super glowy, but it just melts your powder and it will 100% make your makeup wear longer. 100%. It's really, really good. And then the two other ones that I love are from e.l.f. So this is the Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. I love this. I love this so much. It truly is a microfine mist, and it does genuinely prolong the wear of my makeup. Again, this isn't super dewy, it's not super mattifying, but it will melt the powders in and make your makeup last longer for real. And then kind of on a different end, the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. I was a little bit wary about this. Dewy mists are kind of hit or miss for me, but I really don't find that it makes my skin look overly greasy. It just makes you look really glowy, really like nice and healthy, gets rid of the powderiness that your skin might, any powderiness that your skin might have after you like set your makeup. And I think especially if you have dry skin, you might like this, or like normal skin. That's the term. You might like that as well, and they're obviously both really affordable. Now for eyeshadow palettes, and no, I absolutely did not choose 3 eyeshadow palettes because you cannot make me choose 3 eyeshadow palettes, but instead I have chosen 3 of my favorite formulas, which I feel much more capable of doing. So the first will likely again come as no surprise to you if you've been watching me for a while. The Melt. I love Melt, particularly Melt's mattes. I reach for them all the time in my daily makeup. I always reach for Melt mattes to deepen my looks if whatever I'm using doesn't have a deep matte. My 2 favorite, I think, Melt palettes are the Muerte palette, because of course I've used this absolutely to death, and the Mary Jane palette. This is newer to me, but I adore this, and this probably has my favorite shimmer formula from Melt that I've tried. My next, again, formula will probably come as no surprise. Colored Rain. I love Colored Rain. Again, controversial, I feel like, controversial shadow formula, but I have never had a problem with them. The Juicy Boost palette, I love. What am I doing? The Juicy Boost palette, I love. I think their shimmers are really underrated. The Power palette has been a long time favorite of mine. For so long, you could not get me to shut the fuck up about this palette. And I mean, Safari Rain is so iconic, dare I say. Beautiful. And their new Rebellious Nudes palette is such a beautiful neutral palette. These shimmers at the top, glorious. I love them. And then Pat McGrath, I gotta say it, I really love Pat McGrath's eyeshadow formula. I know it's so bougie, I know it's so expensive, but I love them. Or like the palettes that I have, I love their formula so much. My love affair started with Celestial Divinity. You already know I use the shit out of this palette. I love it so much. And then when I tried Bronze Seduction, it was truly over for me. The textures, the depth, the blendability and the buildability of the matte. It's like, yeah, is it worth $170? I mean, it's up to the individual, but maybe not. But Natasha Denona is not giving me this depth and texture, okay? Those might be fighting words, but I said it anyway. And then Utopian Dreams. This is the newer Mothership palette to me, but oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I know I need to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this still. Eventually it will come, okay? Just have to be patient. Okay, and I do want to sneak one in as like an honorable mention. I don't talk about this as much on my channel, but the Likely Makeup Ugly palette has such a good, particularly matte formula. So pigmented but easy to blend and easy to build, much like their blush formula. The shimmers are nice. I would like to see something a little bit more sparkly for my personal taste, but they're nice just like regular metallics. But I can't wait to see what they do in terms of eyeshadow in the future, because I know it's going to be so good. But maybe not quite in my like top 3, but definitely like number 4. So I just had to like give that a shout out. In terms of eyeliners, one I don't have with me, but is probably my favorite liquid liner formula that I've tried that is good and also relatively affordable. The Sephora liquid liner, like the Sephora collection liquid liner. It just is really nice. It's matte. It has a nice brush tip. It lasts a long time. It's easy to use, and I don't know. I think it's just like a really solid liner. One that is also affordable is the Maybelline Hyper Easy Brush Tip Liner. I bought this because I just needed a liquid liner and I didn't want to spend that much money, and I was so pleasantly surprised by this. It has a nice skinny little brush tip. It's not the most like flexible brush tip ever in the world, but I think it's still really nice, particularly for the price point. It's super matte. I don't find that it flakes or fades or anything on me. This is the second one that I've purchased, and I think it's just a really good, affordable liquid liner. And in terms of pencils, I'm still kind of on the hunt for my favorite pencil eyeliner formula, if I'm honest. I do like the Pixie one. Like, I have a black Pixie one that I use, but I find that it gathers in my waterline in a way that I don't love. So I can't, for that reason, include it here, but the ColourPop liners, the ones that work, I really enjoy, but I do find that they're a little bit hit or miss. Like, some dry out super fast, and then some are really nice and beautiful and work for a long time. So I don't think any of these are available anymore, any of these shades, but the shade Best O, Venus, Puppy, and Overboard, which are these shades, all work really, really well. And I find when they do work, they're creamy, they are opaque, they last forever in the waterline. So I don't know, use or buy at your own risk, but I do like them. And they don't gather in my like inner corners if I use them on my waterline. For mascara, I honestly have two mascaras that I really, really stand by and love. The first is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. Volumizes, it lengthens, it makes your lashes look long and thick and beautiful, and it doesn't flake. I love it. It's from the drugstore. Amazing. And then the other one that's new to me within the year is the Essence Lash Princess, the False Lash Effect mascara. This is the volume effect, but pretend that the writing on this tube is green. That is the one that I love. This is fine, but I like the False Lash Effect one more. Some people say it's not worth the hype, but especially when you're like halfway done it and it's dried out. Again, I just feel like it makes your lashes look long and voluminous, and I don't really remember particularly that it flaked that much, to be honest. Like, I don't remember smudging or flaking, really. And I just think it's so, so good and affordable and really, really nice and worth the hype in my opinion, although not everyone agrees with that. Now, lips. So I've broken it into categories of lip liner, lipstick, and lip gloss because I'm honestly not even gonna do liquid lipsticks because there is 100% not a new favorite liquid lipstick formula. I don't think I've bought new liquid lipsticks in the past year. My favorites are still the one in last year's video. I'll leave that video linked down below if you haven't already watched it. Favorite lip liners, I mean 100% obviously Makeup Forever and Liz Cacao. It is my #1 favorite lip liner, one of my favorite lip products ever. It's the perfect cool toned like taupey brown that gives shading to your lips but grunchifies and neutralizes any lipstick you use. It's the perfect lip liner formula. It's not too creamy, it's not too hard. I just love it. I love it so much, but you already know that, and I'm pretty sure I use it every single time I do my makeup. I've also absolutely fallen in love with the NYX lip liners over the past year. I love the Suede Matte lip liners as well as the regular lip liners. My favorites are probably Sandstorm, and in the Suede Matte lip liner, this is like My Lips but better. I use this as a blend out shade a lot of the time for deeper lip liners, and Nude Truffle is a really good just like mid-tone brown that I use with so many lipsticks, lip glosses, but honestly I'd recommend any shade that suits your fancy from the NYX lip liner ranges because they're so, so good. They're so good, like you don't need to buy more expensive lip liners when you have NYX lip liners available, in my opinion. And for my third lip liner formula, I do really like ColourPop liners. I feel like something out there could usurp these again, but for now and what I've tried, I do really like them. If you prefer a creamier liner, then you might really, really like these. I tend to prefer a harder liner, but I do really like the way that these like blend. You can so easily wear these as a lipstick all over your lips, so I do think they are a really good affordable option as well. But I don't like the packaging because I find the caps come off really easily. Like I don't know. They don't feel as secure, but anyway, that's just me. Now for lipsticks, I actually narrowed it down to 3 legitimate like lipstick shades that are my top 3 favorite lipsticks because they're just the ones that I reach for all the time. #1 is the MAC matte lipstick in Yash. You can see how well loved it is for me. It's just such a beautiful warm toned brown, like light peachy brown. I love the MAC matte lipstick formula. It's so comfortable but long wearing. I adore it. I also love the Propa Beauty Luminous Satin Lipstick in the shade Finesse. Again, so well loved by me. It's creamy and definitely like satin. It's not matte, but it wears so well and lasts so long for like a satin lipstick. And I just love this like yellow toned brown, this color. And then again, this is new. Oh, by the way, Merit did send me this blush in PR, but I'm not obligated to talk about it. And they also sent me this lipstick. This is the Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick in the shade Slip. This is just so easy to throw on and go. They're not super opaque, so they're really easy to just throw on. You don't have to worry about being super, super precise. Again, I have like a type when it comes to bullet lipsticks. A lighter brown, like a lighter neutral brown is what I love. And this checks pretty much every single box. It's definitely a more expensive lipstick. It's like $30, I believe, which is pretty pricey, but might be worth it for a lipstick that I know that I wear a lot and get a ton of use out of. And I really just have been enjoying this lipstick a ton. Now for lip gloss. Difficult because I've really expanded my range of lip glosses that I've used, but I gotta say, I don't know if these would be considered separate or the same formula. I guess separate, but the Fenty Gloss Bomb Heat, this is the shade Fenty Glow. I love it. I love it. And I think I love it more than the original Gloss Bomb formula. There's no sparkle, it's just a cream finish, but it's so juicy and glossy that doesn't feel like overly heavy or sticky, and I love the plumping effect. It's definitely like a spicy plumping gloss, so if you don't like that, you won't like this, but I've fallen in love with this again this year. Essence Shine 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 Wet Look Lip Gloss. This is clear. I also have another shade. Adore this. This to me feels like a high-end lip gloss. It's so gloss-like, so shiny, and I would recommend everyone, if you like lip gloss, to go and get an Essence lip gloss because they're so good and so cheap. And I do want to say, I still consider the Fenty Gloss Bomb formula to be in my top, but I talk about these all the time, and you know, I'm sure if you're watching this video what the Fenty Gloss Bombs are like, but the ColourPop So Juicy Gloss, this is in the shade Lizzie, has really, I've fallen in love with it, okay? It's really caught my eye. I love how glassy on your lips it looks. It really, really does look glassy. It's not really super plumping. It's more of like a minty sensation. This, I don't want to necessarily put over the gloss bombs because it has a tendency to get a little bit stringy if you over apply it, whereas I never really feel like the Fenty Gloss Bombs ever get too gloopy or too stringy. If you over apply this, you can like see the strings between your lips, but I love the way this looks. Your lips look like glass. So that's kind of where I'm at with this lip gloss. And I do prefer a doe foot applicator more than a squeezy tube, I gotta say. Okay, and now that I've been talking for absolutely ages, I will leave you now to go about your day. I had a lot of fun reflecting, honestly, over the categories and what's the same and what's different. Like from last year to now. I feel like there's kind of 50-50 mix of new products and then products that are the same. And the products that are the same are like I back these with everything I have, okay? Like I really, really, really love them. And not to say that I don't really, really love the new products that I'm talking about, but the ones that are repeats are like I've been loving them for years. thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, shout out to Julia for creating this video idea. She literally has the best video ideas and I love her so much. Definitely go subscribe to her because she's the best. And yeah, I would love to see you in my next video. Bye.